Here's Patrick Wilson. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Jake, the scary story guy. Ooh. And today we're talking about Insidious, Chapter 2, which might actually be the best PG-13 rated horror sequel I've ever seen. Not saying a lot, but hey, I liked it. And before we dive in, let me just say, you're gonna get spoilers for Insidious Chapter 2 and the original Insidious movie in this video. This movie directly follows the events of Insidious 1, and also it came out 8 years ago, so, you know, seems reasonable. You've been warned. So Insidious Chapter 2 basically brings back the entire crew from last time. James Wan, Lee Wan-el, Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, Lin Shaye, and again, the talent involved here is readily apparent. I thought Rose Byrne was the standout in the first movie, but here it's Patrick Wilson who steals the show. Wasn't really joking in the beginning, by the way. There's some real Jack Torrance energy in this one. So at the end of the last movie, Patrick Wilson's character, Josh, becomes possessed by the woman in black. You know, he kills Elise right at the very end. And of course, we the viewers know this, but he's acting normally enough that his family, they might suspect something's wrong, but they don't quite know what. And as the movie progresses, we witness a conflict taking place within Josh's body, but Josh's soul is in the further. He has nothing to do with it. Instead, what we're witnessing is a conflict between the bride in black and her mother. Creepy moms, man. Bride in Black actually feels like a side villain in this movie because all the scariest shit comes from the mother. I mean, already, anytime you've got a female ghost dressed in white, you've got my attention. I mean, that shit is just so creepy. Speaking of which, I wonder if I should interrupt this review to advertise my own original horror story called The Woman in White, which you can find a link for in the— Don't you dare! Sorry. By the way, who knew ghosts could slap so hard? Look, this is everything I could realistically want from a sequel. It doesn't have to waste time on exposition, setting up the story. The first movie's already done that. So this can just jump right back in to what made the first movie so good. It's not The Godfather Part 2, but it does the job. Have you ever actually seen The Godfather Part 2? Look, it's like 4 hours. I'll get to it when I get to it. I also thought the time travel aspects of this movie were actually a pretty nice touch. I say time travel even though these ghosts technically exist outside of time, so they're not really traveling, but whatever. You didn't come here for a physics lesson. It's time travel. I liked the callbacks to all those scares in the first movie. How Josh was kind of the one haunting his own family in a weird way is good fan service without being obnoxious about it. Speaking of obnoxious though, let's talk about the use of humor in this movie. There are some scenes near the end where things are getting pretty intense, and Elise's two helpers are just dropping way too much comic relief. It's like, okay, we get it, they're quirky, but there's a battle for someone's soul going on right now. Do you want me to be invested in that or not? I also thought this movie was a little hard to follow at times, and I don't mean that in the Christopher Nolan, Memento, Prestige, Inception type of way, where it's demanding a lot of you as a viewer, but there's a coherence to be discovered there, but more like a Christopher Nolan, Tenet kind of way, where even the director probably has no idea what the hell's going on. So like, the characters are investigating the bride in black's backstory. And at one point they end up in this creepy house investigating, and then a creepy hospital, and then another creepy house, and they're acting as though a linear plot is carrying them between these places, but really it just feels like a collection of random set pieces, and some of it was a little contrived for sure. The line where the nurse is like, "But that patient's been dead since yesterday morning." I could quote that line as it was being said, and I've never seen the movie before. Honestly, maybe the most predictable line of dialogue I've ever encountered. I'm also a little torn on the flashback scenes. The young versions of Barbara Hershey and Lin Shaye that they got were unbelievable, just dead ringers. Great casting. But also they were dubbing Lin Shaye's voice over this girl, and I didn't think it went very well. It was taking me out of the movie. I just, people's voices change over time. Just let the girl talk. But all in all, this movie's good. It's better than you'd think. And once again, James Wan proves that it's possible to freak audiences out without making them watch someone jump into a pit of hypodermic needles or whatever the hell in Saw 17. I'm gonna give Insidious Chapter 2 3.5 stars out of 5. Also worth noting, Rose Byrne took my parenting advice from the last video. She heard someone screaming over the baby monitor. She ran upstairs, with haste this time. Got bitch slapped unconscious by a ghost for her troubles, but you know, still probably the right move. Guys, as always, if you want to see more horror content like this, subscribe to my channel. I'll be reviewing Insidious 3 and 4 soon, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching my video. Here's hoping you survive to see the next one.